Oh, absolutely no cap, I'm sticking to my guns on this one. Steer clear of the crowd, dodge the few, and straight up ghost anyone who's on your radar. There ain't a soul I want you to share your vibes with, and trust me when I say I've got mad faith in you if I'm down to trust you with your own self. Check this out, there's a story about Krates, the dude who learned from Stilbo, the same cat I mentioned earlier. Krates peeped a young blood walking solo and asked him what's popping. The youngster hits back with, I'm just vibing with myself. Krates drops some knowledge like, yo, be careful fam. You're chopping it up with a shady character right there. Whenever people are in a tough spot or got the jitters, we usually keep tabs on them to make sure they don't start moving sus when they're on their lonesome. We can't let a clueless homie wander off on their own, cause that's when they start cooking up some wild ideas, stirring up trouble for themselves or others, and letting their inner demons run wild. Honestly, when someone's solo, all the stuff that fear or shame used to hold down starts coming to the surface. Their mind starts letting out what fear or embarrassment used to keep locked away, and it tamps up their recklessness, stirs up their cravings, and lights a fire under their rage. And the one good thing about solitude, learning not to trust nobody and being cool with no witnesses, that goes out the window for fools, cause they end up snitching on themselves. So listen up, here's what I'm vibing with for you, or you could say what I'm banking on, cause hope's got no guarantees. I can't think of anyone I'd rather see you kick it with than yourself. I remember when you dropped some fire lines and they were hella powerful. I gave myself a little pat on the back and thought these words ain't just empty talk. This dude's got a solid foundation. He's not like the rest. He's got his eyes on the real prize. Keep talking and living like that, and don't let anything bring you down. As for your old prayers, you can give the gods a break from those. Start fresh with new prayers. Ask for a clear mind and good health first for your soul and then your body. And you best believe you should keep tossing those prayers out there regularly. Don't hold back when you're reaching out to the big guy upstairs. You're not asking for someone else's stuff. But you know the drill, I gotta drop a little gift with this letter as is tradition. Here's a gem I found from Athendaris. You'll know you've ditched all your desires when you're praying to God for nothing you wouldn't openly pray for. But peeps nowadays, man, they be whispering the shadiest prayers to the heavens. If someone's eavesdropping, they go radio silent real quick. They spill all their secrets to God that they'd never spill to anyone else. So how about you take this solid advice, live your life like God's always watching, and talk to God like everyone's eavesdropping.
For real, me and your homie had a chat, and gotta say dude's got some serious game. Right from the jump he was dropping gems that showed he's got the skills and knowledge. He gave me a taste, and you can bet he's gonna follow through. When he spoke, it wasn't all planned out. He got caught off guard, and when he tried to gather himself, you could see that touch of humility, which is a good look for a young player. That blush. It was all natural rising up from deep down. I'm willing to bet that even after he levels up and drops those flaws, he'll keep that blushing habit. 'Cause you can't just erase those quirks that come with your body no matter how much wisdom you gain. What's in your DNA can be toned down with practice, but it ain't ever gonna disappear. Even the most composed speakers sometimes break a sweat when they're in the spotlight like they've been grinding or something. Some folks get shaky in the knees when they step up to talk. I know some whose teeth start chattering, tongues get twisted, and lips start trembling. No amount of training or experience can shake off that habit. Mother Nature's got her own thing going, and she lets her presence be known even to the toughest players. That blushing thing you mentioned. It's another one of those quirks. It can hit even the most dignified individuals. It's more common in the younger crowd thanks to their warm blood and sensitive faces, but even the OGs catch it sometimes. Some people get super shady when they start blushing like they're spilling all their secrets. Solo, when his cheeks got that flush, he was in beast mode. Pompey had that sensitive vibe. He'd always blush in front of a crowd, especially at a public event. Fab 2, if I remember right, would turn red when he had to spill the tea in front of the Senate. But you know what? It suited him, and his awkwardness was on point. But here's the thing. It's not about being mentally weak. It's about facing something new. Newbies ain't always gonna be confused, but they usually catch this vibe because their body's wired that way. Some folks got that hot blood that rushes to their face like it's got a mission. Like I said, wisdom can't just erase this vibe from your system. If it could, it would be running the whole show. Whatever you got from the get-go thanks to your genes and how your body's wired, that's sticking with you no matter how hard you try to level up your mind. And you can't just flip this vibe on and off whenever you want. Actors on stage, when they gotta act all shy and stuff, they drop their heads, lower their voices, and keep their eyes glued to the ground. But they can't pull off that blushing act because it's the real deal and you can't fake it. Wisdom, they ain't got the answers for this one. It shows up when it wants, and there ain't no rule book. But here's the mic drop moment of my message. Listen up and take this lit motto to heart. Keep someone with mad character in your circle and imagine they're watching you 24/7. Live like they've got their eyes on you and let their vibes guide your moves. Epicurus got the right idea, giving us a role model and a personal motivator. Most of our flaws could bounce if we had someone keeping tabs on us when we're about to slip. Your soul should have someone it respects, someone whose vibes can make even your inner thoughts chill out. It's a blessing when you can make people better just by being in their thoughts, not just when you're around. And it's dope when you respect someone enough to keep yourself in check by thinking about them. If you can do that, you're on the fast track to earning that respect back. So pick someone like Cato, or if he's too intense for you, find a Laylas, someone with a more chill vibe. Get yourself a role model whose life talk and expressions vibe with you. Keep them in your mental picture as your guardian or your inspiration. 'Cause we all need that someone to set the vibe for our character. You can't straighten out the crooked without a ruler, you feel me?
Yo, it's like every corner I turn I'm getting hit with reminders that I'm leveling up in this age game, you feel me? I rolled up to my countryside spot the other day, and I couldn't help but roll my eyes at the cash flow going into fixing up that old crib. My property manager was all like, "Nah, it's not on me, boss. I'm doing everything I can, but this place is ancient, no cap." And this was the same house I had a hand in building. If my own bricks and mortar are already falling apart, what's next? I was low-key heated, and I didn't waste a sec to vent to my property manager. "It's mad obvious," I said, "these plane trees are getting neglected. They're out here looking all leafless branches, looking gnarly, and dried up trunks, rough, and not kept up. None of this would have happened if someone showed them some love, loosened up that soil at their feet, and gave them a sip of water." My property manager swore by my guardian deity that he's hustling hard, never slacking, but those trees are just old heads. But between you and me, I planted those trees myself. I watched them sprout from the ground. Then I peeped at the entrance and was like, "Who's that grandpa looking all washed up over there?" Smart move putting him at the entrance, 'cause he's on his way out. Where'd you even find him? What's the thrill in burying someone else's relic? But my servant was like, "You don't even recognize me, sir. I'm Felicio. You used to hook me up with little figurines. My dad was Phil the steward, and I was your ride-or-die slave." I couldn't help but think, this dude's gone bonkers. Did my ride-or-die just turn into a little kid again? But then again, with those baby teeth popping out, my countryside spot had me thinking that old age is catching up to me wherever I look. But you know what? Let's appreciate and embrace old age, 'cause it's got some gems if you know how to rock it. Like fruits hit different when they're all ripe and ready to go, youth gets real charming as it winds down, and that last drink, the one that takes the whole drinking game to the next level, is where the real party's at. Each pleasure saves the best for last. Life is at its peak when it's on the downhill slide, but hasn't hit rock bottom yet. And I genuinely believe that the phase just before the final plunge, you know, the one teetering on the edge, has its own unique pleasures. Or maybe the fact that we no longer crave pleasures has become the new pleasure itself. It's all good to finally be over our desires and just chill out. But you might be thinking, "Dude, isn't it kinda messed up to be staring death in the face?" Yo, death is something everyone should face head on, no matter your age. We're not summoned based on our position in the pecking order. Plus, nobody is so old that hoping for one more day is out of line. And one day, just so you know, is a legit milestone on life's journey. Our whole life is split into sections like those Russian nesting dolls. The big one wraps around everything from birth to the last day. The next one is for our young adult years. Another one covers our whole childhood. Then there's the year, and that one's stacked with all the different slices of time that make up our life. The month gets its own ring too. The tiniest one. That's the day. But even a single day has its own beginning and end, sunrise and sunset. So here lit the philosopher with a knack for cryptic sayings once dropped this bomb. One day is equal to every day. People have their own takes on it. Some say it's about all days having the same number of hours, which is true, 'cause if a day is a solid 24 hours, all days got to be equal since night makes up for what day loses. But others think it's more about days being similar, 'cause even the longest time frames got nothing that can't be found in a single day, light and darkness. Even when eternity stretches things out, it's not about being different, just longer or shorter. So every day should be treated like it's closing out the series, rounding out our lives like a boss. Pac was this dude who basically took over Syria, used to throw a mini funeral bash for himself, wine, food, the whole deal. Then he'd have himself carried from the dining room to his bedroom while eunuchs cheered and sang in Greek like he's lived his life. So Pac was straight up giving himself a mock funeral every day. But let's do the same thing for the right reasons with good vibes. When we hit the hay, let's do it with joy and gratitude, saying, I've lived my life, I've finished the race that fate set for me. And if the universe decides to drop an extra day on us, let's welcome it with open arms. The happiest person who's totally owning their life is the one who can look forward to the next day without a hint of worry. When a person says, I've lived my life, every morning they wake up, it's like they get a bonus round. Alright, it's time for me to drop the mic on this letter. But don't worry, it's not coming empty-handed. It's bringing you a gem, this dope saying I'm about to hit you with. Living under constraint is a no-go, but remember, no one's forcing you to live under constraint in the first place. And for sure ain't nobody got time for that. You might be thinking, yo, Epicurus said that. What's the deal with you using someone else's words? But let me tell you, truth is for everyone. And I'm gonna keep serving up Epicurus quotes cause it's all about spreading wisdom, not just praising the messenger.
I see you've got mad spirit, yo. Even before you started loading up on those lit life hacks that can help you own those challenges, you were already flexing your muscles in the ring with Lady Luck. And now after going a few rounds with her and testing your mettle, your spirit's even stronger. Our true strength only shines through when we face some crazy obstacles from all directions, sometimes even getting down and dirty with them. That's how we know what we're really made of. That inner fire that refuses to bow down to external forces. It's like being a fighter, you know? No boxer steps into the ring with confidence if they've never taken a beat down. The ones who step in with a wagger are the ones who've seen their own blood, felt the sting of their opponent's punch, been knocked down but got back up ready to bring even more heat. That's the vibe we're aiming for. So to keep your game strong, fortune has thrown you some curveballs in the past, but you didn't back down. You bounced back even stronger. Going toe-to-toe with life's curveballs is how you've honed your skills. But if you're cool with it, I got some extra wisdom to fortify your hustle. Yo bestie, here's the deal. More stuff has the potential to freak us out than actually has the power to crush us. We end up suffering way more in our heads than in reality. I'm not going full-on stoic mode here, just keeping it chill. Stoics usually brush off all the stuff that makes people freak out, calling it unimportant and beneath them. But you and I were gonna keep it real and use plain language. Trust some things that sound major are just not. What I'm saying is, don't stress out before things get real, cause half the time those things that seem like they're about to hit you never actually do. At least not yet. So some stuff messes with our heads more than it should. Sometimes it bugs us before it's even a thing, and other times it's just messing with us when it shouldn't be messing with us at all. We're in the habit of blowing things out of proportion, getting worked up over stuff that's all in our heads. First off, let's deal with the first problem, exaggerating stuff that's happening right now. We'll tackle that later. What I consider small you might think is a big deal, cause I know some people laugh while they're getting wrecked and others can't handle a simple slap in the face. We'll dive deeper into whether these issues come from their own strength or our own weakness another time. Do me a solid though. When people try to convince you that you're miserable, don't just listen to them. Listen to what you feel and trust your own vibe. Check in with your gut, cause you know your own situation better than anyone else. Ask yourself, do these people really need to feel sorry for me? Why are they tripping, acting like my problems are contagious? Is there actual bad stuff going on, or is it just people talking smack? Be your own judge and ask yourself, am I suffering for no reason? Am I being a downer, turning something that's not really a big deal into a big deal? Now you might ask, how do I know if I'm actually suffering or just imagining it? Here's the deal. We get stressed by stuff that's happening right now, stuff we think will happen, or sometimes both. So let's break it down. If nothing's actually bothering you right now and you're healthy and not dealing with any outside drama, then you're good in the present. But when it comes to the future, we'll talk about that later. Right now you're all good. But you might be like, yo, something's definitely gonna go down in the future. First off, consider if your evidence for that future drama is solid. Cause most of the time we stress over stuff that might not even happen and we get freaked out by rumors that aren't even true. Trust nobody is more chaotic than panic mode. Other fears might be wild, but panic mode is next level. So let's get real about this. Investigate it properly and don't let rumors and wild thoughts take over. Check if there's legit proof. Now you might wonder, how do I know if my suffering is real or all in my head? Here's the rule of thumb. Stuff can stress us out cause it's happening right now or cause it's about to go down. but sometimes it's both. So how do we tell if it's real or all in our heads? Look, things could go down for sure, but there's an equal chance they won't. So don't stress about it in advance. What's the point of being miserable when you're already old? I am saying this to school you or to trick you with some mild advice. Now let's keep it real. Another day, another challenge. You were born for this kind of life. Now to wrap this up, I'm just gonna drop a classic saying to cap off this letter. Fools always getting ready to live. Reflect on that, bro. It means people keep making plans for their lives even when they're already old. Honestly, it's pretty lame. I won't drop the author's name cause it's not that famous and it's not one of those epic risk quotes I've been vibing with.
Yo, I gotta admit, we all got this vibe with our own bodies, right? Like it's ours to keep lit, but don't get it twisted. Being all obsessed ain't the move. If you let your body call the shots, you're gonna end up playing yourself stuck with more bosses than you can handle. It's all about not letting it rule you, but also not acting like you don't need it. Too much love for the bod can get you all kinds of stress, drowning in worries and catching shade left and right. Real talk, if you're too into your physical self, you're sleeping on what really matters. That inner glow, that virtue. Sure, treat your body right, but be ready to throw it down for what's legit when you gotta. We gotta dodge the rough stuff as much as we can, staying woke on how to kick those fears to the curb. There's like 3 biggies that freak us out. Being broke, getting sick, and getting caught up in some drama cause someone's got a power trip. But for real, it's the flex of someone else's power that's got us all kinds of stressed cause it comes with all the noise. The other stuff like being hungry or sick, it creeps up quiet, no big scene. But when someone's flexing on you with all their might, it's a whole circus complete with swords and all. Imagine the worst. Being locked up, dealing with all that torture stuff like being torn apart or set on fire. That's the stuff of nightmares, right? It's no wonder we're scared stiff of ending up like that. It's a lot to take in. But peep this. Even though those other troubles like being starving or super sick are hush-hush, they're still rough. It's just that the flashy troubles they win out cause they're all in your face. So here's the deal. We got to keep it chill and not step on toes. Sometimes it's the crowd you got to watch, or maybe it's the big shots pulling strings. Keeping everyone happy is a tall order, but at least try not to make enemies. Be smart. Dodge the drama like you dodge a storm when you're sailing. When you hit up Sicily, you had to deal with those wild waves, right? You gotta be like that careful pilot, staying clear of troubled waters, not just charging through. Our wise dude does the same. Stays away from trouble, especially the kind that can do you dirty without making it obvious. Cause sometimes flying under the radar is your best bet. We got to keep our eyes peeled and figure out how to not get caught up in the mess. And rule number 1. Don't be craving what they crave, cause that's just asking for a fight. And don't be flashing what you got, making it tempting for someone looking to make a quick buck. If you're rolling light, even the thieves will think you're not worth the trouble. Also, steer clear of hate, envy, and dissing others. Getting that balance right is key, cause you don't wanna end up getting played or looked down on. Being feared can get you in just as much hot water as being hated. So we gotta lay low, cause getting noticed for the wrong reasons is a no-go. That's where philosophy comes in clutch. It's like your chill zone. It keeps you safe without making you stand out. Getting all up in the public eye like being a big shot at the courthouse that's just asking for beef. But philosophy, it's low-key. It minds its business, and even the sketchiest folks respect it. No matter how twisted things get, philosophy stays golden. But even philosophy's gotta be done with some chill, not going all hardcore. Like look at Cato. Dude was all about that life, standing up to civil wars and all. But sometimes you gotta wonder if it's even worth getting mixed up in all that drama. Like, why pick a side when it's all a hot mess anyway? So peep this. Sometimes it's better to just do you, staying away from all that chaos. Being too out there can make you a target. And real talk, being all about that philosophy life is like having a shield. It's respected across the board, even by those who are usually up to no good. So bottom line, keep it 100, stay low-key, and let philosophy be your guide. That's how you navigate this wild world without catching too much heat. And remember, being rich in spirit beats being rich in the bank any day.
Back in the day, the Romans had this chill way of kicking off their DMs like "hope you're good, 'cause I'm vibing too." But for us, it's more like if you're diving deep into philosophy, you're living your best life. 'Cause let's be real, without getting your mind right with some philosophy, you're just kinda going through the motions, and even if you're all buff and stuff, it's like being swole in a not so cool way. Getting your soul in shape should be your main gig. The rest is just bonus points and honestly doesn't need you to sweat it. Grinding for those gains like you're prepping for a bullfight is kinda extra when you think about it. Stuffing your face to bulk up just ends up cramping your style and dulling your vibe. Keep it light, let your spirit do its thing. Heading down that road of all workout and no play comes with a bunch of bummers. First off, those gym sessions eat up your energy and time, pulling you away from leveling up your brain game. Then there's the food coma from hitting the buffet too hard, making you less sharp. Plus you're stuck listening to those gym bros who flip-flop between protein shakes and keg stands, thinking they're living the dream if they can just sweat buckets and chug. Sounds like a bad day, right? But hey, there are quick fixes to get the blood pumping without wasting your day. Try sprinting, lifting some weights, or hopping around, whatever gets you moving fast. Just make sure you bounce back to brain workouts, 'cause that's where it's at, keeping your thoughts jacked 24/7. And this kind of workout doesn't care if it's snowing or blazing outside or if you're starting to rack up birthdays. That's the real gold, wisdom that gets better with age. Don't get it twisted though. I'm not saying you should always have your nose in a book. Mix it up a bit, but keep it cool so you don't lose your edge. Like reading in a hammock or brainstorming while you're out for a stroll, that's the way to do it. And about your voice, keep it chill. No need for those vocal gymnastics like you're trying out for the opera. For real, don't get caught up in all that fancy footwork or letting someone micromanage your munchies. If you're pushing too hard from the get-go, you're just gonna wear yourself out. Start easy, then crank it up as you get into it, kind of like how a heated debate gets louder. I just saved you from a whole lot of hassle, and here's a little something extra. A dope quote. A fool's life is all about wanting more and being scared of the future. And by fool, I don't mean just anyone. I'm talking about us when we chase stuff that'll never really satisfy us. We got to remember how many wins we've already racked up and not stress about what's next. Being grateful for what you've got is key. Set yourself a limit that you're cool with and don't even sweat trying to go beyond. All those shiny things people chase, they're not as legit as they seem. If you're always wanting more, you're just gonna end up thirsty. So why trip about what's coming next? Focus on being cool with what you've got. After all, today could be the finale, or it's pretty darn close.
Yo, bestie, it's pretty clear, right? No one's living their best life without a little wisdom on their side. You get that a lit life is all about wisdom maxed out, but even just dipping your toes in is enough to keep things from going sideways. Gotta marinate on this daily cost. Sticking to what you've already promised yourself is key. Keep leveling up that wisdom until what started as a vibe turns into your whole game plan. So you don't gotta hit me up with all the deets and big talks. I see you making moves. I feel what you're throwing down, and it's legit. But I'm vibing with hope more than total trust right now. Do yourself a solid and keep it real with yourself too. Don't be quick to back yourself too hard. Give yourself the third degree, check yourself out in different lights, but most importantly, see if it's just life or actual philosophy you're leveling up in. Philosophy isn't just for show or clout. It's about the real deal, not just words. It's not here to just kill time or break the monotony. It shapes you, sets your life straight, guides what to do and what to dodge like a boss steering through a storm. Without it, you're just playing life on hard mode, constantly needing advice for the daily grind. And if you're wondering what's the point if everything's already decided by fate, God, or just random chance, well, here's the scoop. We gotta be all about that philosophy life, no matter what's pulling the strings, fate, divine plans, or chaos. Philosophy's got our backs, teaching us to roll with whatever, keeping us in tune with the universe, and giving us the side-eye of fortune. But hey, I'm not trying to dive deep into whether we're all just playing out some cosmic script. The real talk is about keeping that spark inside you alive and kicking. Nurture it so it goes from a spark to a full-blown fire. If I've got you pegged, you've been scouring my words from the jump hunting for that golden nugget. Well, sift through and you'll find the goods. No need to big up my brain power. I'm just passing along the wisdom I've scooped up from others. And why even say others? Truth bombs are universal. Like Epicurus said, life true to nature, and you're set. Chase after people's opinions and you'll never stack enough. What nature needs is basic. What society tells us to want is never ending. Imagine you've got all the richest swag and luxury you could ever want, but it'll just leave you wanting more, always chasing the next level. Desires rooted in nature have their limits. Desires based on what others think are infinite. Getting lost has no end, so reel it back from the pointless chase. If your goals keep moving the goalposts, you're playing the game wrong.
You dog peep this. If you want to live that sweet life, you gotta dive deep into the wisdom pool. Like no cap, you can't even have a decent time without it. Getting all wise and stuff is the end game for happiness, but just getting started makes life bearable. You gotta keep reminding yourself about this every day. Sticking to your goals is way cooler than just dreaming up new ones. So push that wisdom grind to the max, break any chains holding you back. But you're like, wait up, my cash flows got me tied down. I want to set it up so I'm chill if I peace out from the grind without being broke or a drag on anyone. Dude, seems like you're sleeping on how epic wisdom really is. You're vibing with the idea seeing the big win philosophy brings, but you're not seeing the whole picture yet. Philosophy's got your back in big and small ways, like Sick Rao said. It's not just some show-off gig. It shapes you, leads you, keeps you from losing your way amid life's chaos. Without it, you're just winging it, and not in a good way. And if you're sweating over what's the point if fate's got it all locked down, or if the universe is on God's playlist, or if chance is just throwing dice with our lives. Listen, we gotta be all about that philosophy life, no matter the vibe, fate, divine DJ, or total randomness. Philosophy teaches us to vibe with whatever's playing. But here's the thing, I'm not trying to get lost in whether we're all on some cosmic railroad. Just don't let your spark fizzle out. Keep that fire lit in your soul. I bet you're already scrolling through this looking for the loot. Well, dig in and you'll find it. And hey, don't sweat my brain power. I'm just remixing the wisdom I found lying around. Like Epicurus dropped. Live with nature and you're golden. Live chasing likes and you're never gonna hit the jackpot. Nature's wishlist is short. Society's is never ending. You could stack cash to the ceiling, drip in designer, and still want more. Desires based on real talk have an end. Desires based on clout are a bottomless pit. If you're always chasing, you're just lost. So why kick philosophy to the curb? Even the rich peeper moves when they're sober. Wanna chill with your thoughts? Either go minimal or fake it. Real talk, you gotta embrace that voluntary simplicity. Ditch the I need more mindset and get down with wisdom. You think you need stacks to start? Nah, philosophy's about that free spirit life, no entry fee. You're like, but what about the basics? Burn nature's got a low-key appetite, and wisdom keeps you from stressing over the extra. If things get real tight, the wise peep the exit without making it everyone's prob. But if you're just covering the essentials, you're free to laugh at the chaos of chasing wealth. Don't wait to hit the jackpot before you let wisdom in. Get wise now whether you're rolling in dough or not. As if you got too much, how do you know it's not overkill? Seek wisdom first, cause you can't miss what you don't need. And if you're worried about missing out on life's needs, remember the wise vibe just fine with the basics. But if worst comes to worst, they know how to bow out gracefully. However, if you're just on the struggle bus, philosophy turns that ride into a cruise, showing you how to live large on whatever you've got. So why postpone your real life waiting for that payday? Wisdom's got that instant cash back, making wealth feel basic. This shout out goes to everyone else, but you're already on the fast track. Change your era and you're set. In any era, enough stays the same. I'd drop the mic here, but you've got me handing out parting gifts like I'm visiting royalty. So here's a wisdom nugget from Epicurus. Chasing riches is just trading one set of troubles for another. No surprise there. The problem ain't the bank account. It's the mindset. What weighed you down when you were broke will weigh you down when you're loaded. Whether you're on a wooden cot or a gold-plated bed, your troubles don't care. They're rolling with you either way.